This is a special bonus edition of the Morning Scoop. We are going to have a good problem this week, which is too much to talk about and not enough mornings to fit it all in. There is a reason why Michigan Week used to be the only week that Tony Gerdeman and I did Buckeye Weekly shows every day. This week, I think you're probably going to figure out why that is. In this particular bonus episode, you're going to get to hear from the Buckeyes in the wake of their blowout win over Michigan State. We're going to touch on that game against the Spartans, but don't worry, it never takes long for the conversation to turn to the game against Michigan. After whoever the game before Michigan is, the talk in the post game is generally mostly about Michigan. So they talked about that after the win as well. We'll get there in a minute. We're going to start though with CJ Stroud. After a game where he went 29 for 31 for 393 yards, 6 touchdowns in the first half, where do you go from there? What do you improve after a game that goes pretty much perfectly? You'll hear that answer from CJ Stroud, courtesy of the Ohio State University Athletics Department.
I mean, everything. You can always make things more crisp. I mean, make communication better. I mean, not everything's perfect. I mean, we did a decent job today. So, I mean, but definitely never satisfied until, I mean, until after the end of the end. You know what I mean?
Stroud's crazy passing numbers this year, of course, he can't do that alone. He needs to have wide receivers who can catch the ball and score those touchdowns for him. Luckily for CJ Stroud, he has 3 really outstanding wide receivers. CJ Stroud has Chris Olave, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Garrett Wilson. It is entirely possible that after having only 5,000-yard receivers in school history, Ohio State could have 3 of them this year. So what do each of those guys bring to the offense? You're going to hear Stroud's answer, and then you're also going to hear from Ohio State head coach Ryan Day on the same topic.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, being the veteran, the older guy in the room, he kind of brings a sense of leadership. But also, I mean, he's a great player. He has tremendous speed. His routes are amazing. He always really beats his man. So he's great with yards after the catch. Garrett, I mean, he's just a freak athlete. He can do anything that he wants to. And then he really doesn't get credit for it. He's a great blocker as well when other guys get like little bubbles and things of that sort. And I mean, he's a great player to play with. And then Jackson, he's probably the best route runner I ever played with in my life. He's just really crisp, really clean. His body language and the things that he does with his body is crazy. Like he jukes people out of their socks on the regular, which is really cool to see.
You know, I think Chris, as you can see, he's such a weapon downfield. He did a nice job on a couple other things today on bubble screens and things like that. His run after the catch has been really good. Just fast, 0 to 10, just off the charts. Garrett is just so strong and just so sudden. His catch radius is extraordinary. You know, and he sees the field. And then Jackson is so quick inside. His spatial awareness, his ability to set guys up and change direction. He's kind of built low to the ground with really strong hips and a lower body, and he's got tremendous ball skills as well. Really knows how to run routes. I also was impressed with the way Julian Fleming today played. Stepped up in a big way. I thought that he came down and blocked the guy, and then he came down and we ran the pop pass right behind him. That was great to see him start to be a contributor here to this offense because he's been in and out of injuries, and so he's a guy that also is a strong guy, big strides, can go up and play the ball up high. So like you said, different skill sets there.
Dave, of course, is Ohio State's head coach, but he was a quarterback when he was a player. He's a quarterback coach by trade, an offensive guy by heart. This is obviously a very, very good win for his offense, his team on the whole. But how does he think the offense is executing right now?
Well, you can see our capability, and when we're playing, really good football and clean football, that we certainly have a high ceiling, and we're still striving towards greatness, and it's bringing it every week and playing really well every week. Certainly have a tough opponent coming up this week, and certainly all of our focus is quickly going to that game. But I know we're fresh out of this game. Proud of the way our guys played. Thought we played strong up front. Protection was good. I thought receivers, were really crisp in their route running, made more plays. Travion ran well, and I thought CJ was strong.
We are at the time of year where you're hearing lots of college football playoff talk, lots of conference championship game talk, but also lots of Heisman Trophy talk. And a lot of that talk has been centering around CJ Stroud. So what has Stroud done to get himself to this point? The question today was really framed around the Heisman, but Day doesn't really specifically mention that in his answer.
I think his preparation has allowed him the opportunity to be in these situations, but I think when you're looking at the way he's playing, not that this really matters to our team or not, but When you only play really one half of football and you throw for 6 touchdowns, I just think that matters when you're looking at statistics. And the level of play that he's playing at right now is very high. I think that needs to be taken into consideration. But our focus is on the team up north right now and getting ready for those guys and figuring out a way to get this team ready to go play them next Saturday up there.
In a day when you are breaking all sorts of records and pretty much everything's going right, a lot of times it can be hard to pinpoint like just one or two things that was really the key to it. However, after the game, Ryan Day actually did have an answer to that question. What was the key to the big day on offense?
Well, I think when you stay on schedule like we've done, stayed away from penalties that have got us off schedule, and then finished off drives. I thought the throw that CJ had, early on the in the red zone was a really nice throw to Chris. That was a tight window that he made that throw in, but that's playing against good teams and making those throws down there in the red zone. And there was times where I just thought he moved his feet well. He saw it, and I thought the runs were efficient. For the most part, when we were hitting our runs, I mean they were good. There was one point we took a sack, and it was second and I think like 13 or 14, and then we ran for like a gain of 17, got a first down on those. I mean, those are the things, when you get back on schedule like that keeps us going, because I feel like when we get a new set of downs, we're dangerous. And certainly when you get the ball out in space to our guys, another set of downs means, you may hit a home run. And the more we can keep the chains moving, the better off our chances are.
You may remember a time way back when, all the way back in the beginning of the season, when CJ Stroud was not a universally popular person in Columbus and across the state of Ohio. There were fans who wanted to see him benched, fans who wanted to see Kyle McCord take the starting job. And here we are, just a couple months later. Now he's the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. So how has he improved so much from being someone who's talked about as someone who maybe should be benched to now a likely Heisman finalist?
Well, I think first off, I've told them all along that praise and criticism are all the same. You have to treat it the same way. So the same people that thought that maybe he shouldn't have been playing are the same people that are telling him maybe he should be the Heisman Trophy winner. Can't listen to either of those people. Has to stay focused on just having a great night tonight, getting home, getting rest, waking up in the morning, getting started on these guys. Learn from what happened in this game and stay focused. And I hope he can do that, because so far he's done that. He's been really steady, even though there's been a lot of ups and downs. And right now we're on an upswing. So being able to handle that is critically important, almost more important than when things go bad. And so, but I think it's just putting one week in front of the other, preparation-wise, learning from it, staying strong, and not riding that roller coaster has allowed him to be in this situation.
The end of the season was going to be a tricky one for Ohio State. You knew that going in. You had a top 10 Michigan State team. You got another top 10 Michigan team now on deck, and then potentially the Big Ten championship game the week after that. So you don't have a lot of time to enjoy a win like they had against Michigan State. Normally you would think top 10 win, blowout win, take some time to enjoy it, really, really celebrate the win, and then you move on the next week. That's not so easy with Michigan on deck. So how does Ryan Day want his program to sort of make that transition from not spending too much time looking backwards and being ready to move forward pretty quickly?
Well, we at the bye week, we talked about a 6-week season, and we knew that the week in and week out, this was going to be hard. And I got a lot of respect for the teams we played so far this year. When you look at the way Penn State played us and the way Nebraska played us, and Purdue, Michigan State, these are all really good conference teams. And so we knew we had to bring it, every week. And when you look at college football this year, certainly we understood it even more. There was evidence, and now here's another one right here. And obviously, everything gets ramped up this week because of what it is and what's on the line all the time, but even more this year. Certainly the opportunity to go to Indy and everything's on the line. So we knew it was going to be like this. You have to bring it every week, and it's the battle of the fittest. I mean, you got to be strong. You got to bring it every week, and you can't ride the roller coaster.
Coming out of the Purdue game a week ago, there were a lot of questions about the Ohio State defense. They gave up a lot of yards, more than 30 points, and they had a potential Heisman Trophy candidate coming to town with Michigan State. How were they going to respond? Well, they responded pretty darn well. They limited Kenneth Walker to 25 yards rushing on 6 carries. Some of that is just you can't run the ball when you're down by 35 points almost instantly. But some of it was also they just locked Michigan State down from start to finish. Peyton Thorne finished with under 40% of his passes completed. The defensive line was dominant. How did that defense respond so well after sort of a shaky performance against Purdue to rebound that kind of way?
I thought, the D line. I thought the guys up front with the linebackers. You got to look at the film, but it looked like Tommy was really all over the place today. I think they took it as a challenge to stop the run. We're going to have another challenge coming up this week, but certainly had a lot of respect for Walker coming into the game and wanted to do a good job stopping the run and make them play. Really one-dimensional, and I thought we did that.
As the Buckeyes turn the page from Michigan State to Michigan, they are somewhat similar teams. They played a very competitive game up in East Lansing earlier in the season. They were ranked right next to each other in the college football playoff rankings last week. So how similar will the challenge be from Michigan as compared to what Michigan State brought on Saturday?
We've watched them a little bit here and there, but you can't get too far ahead of yourself in season, because if you start doing that, you're going to lose the game at hand. So I've watched them a little bit. They're a very, very good team, and watch them just when you're getting ready to play your game at night. Maybe they have a noon game, and so I got to watch the film to get an idea. But I know that they're very strong. They have some really good players on defense, really good players on offense, and they're playing at a high level. So I don't know, to answer that question, what the comparison is, but certainly when you play in the rivalry game, all the records go out the window anyhow. So you got to play really well, and now we're on the road, so a lot going into this week.
A few other Buckeyes also came out to talk after the game. This is going to be Haskell, Garrett, and Tyreke Smith, two of the players on the Ohio State defensive line that really dominated the game against Michigan State on Saturday. The question that they both are going to be answering here is, this is the Michigan game. This is an important game, but really, what is at stake this week against Michigan?
It's just, we're really excited, and this is what this game is always about. There's always big stakes, the rivalry, and they're a good team every year, and they bring it, and we're excited to play them.
I'm saying what Haskell said. We just been preparing for that team, all winter, all summer. We just got that game always on our minds, in the back of our head. So, now it's here. We just got to do what we've been doing, practice hard, go into that game with a good mindset, play them strong.
This year's Ohio State team is a very young Ohio State team, but it seems kind of crazy to think that a lot of the key Buckeyes have never been a part of a Michigan game. They've never seen a Michigan game in person, at least in uniform before. CJ Stroud, Trevion Henderson, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Lots and lots of guys, Denzel Burke, both sides of the ball, have never seen a Michigan game in person because last year's game, of course, was canceled. So without a game last year, this being the first game for a lot of Buckeyes against Michigan, how do you prepare those young guys for what this week is really like? Here's Chris Olave's answer.
I feel like they know what it's going to be like. It's a 365 days that happens at the facility. I feel like our hatred for them, we do that in the off season. I know they feel that. So it's gonna be the first game they played in, but I know they know how big the moment's gonna be. So I'm not too worried about that.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know this is a week when Ohio State fans are looking for a lot of content, and I'm going to do my very best to give you a lot of content. I know a number of you are also perhaps hitting the road this week for some holiday travel. And we will do our best to fill your devices with podcasts before you hit the road sometime later this week. So make sure you check out all of those great podcasts on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or SoundCloud or Spreaker or Spotify. We dropped a 2-hour episode of the post-game instant reaction live on the Buckeye Weekly feed. Make sure you check that out from Saturday. Talked a little, a good bit about the Michigan State game, but also a lot about the Michigan game coming up. We were recording that, watching the Michigan game, giving some thoughts on Michigan as well. So that should hopefully be an interesting listen for you. Answered a lot of listener questions as well. So that's on the Buckeye Weekly feed. So just search Buckeye Weekly, subscribe there. We do daily shows all through. We do daily shows all the time now during the fall, but during Michigan week, that has always been a daily show because this is a week that both Tony and I look forward to every year. It is the greatest rivalry in all of sports, and it is a lot of fun to cover, a lot of fun to talk about, and a lot of fun to look forward to. We talk about it all year here, and now that week is finally here. So check out Buckeye Weekly and all of our great podcasts. Also check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. We post them all there. We do a bunch of live shows, all that good stuff. It's all free at youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. That'll do it for today. We will be back with a normal episode tomorrow morning. Talk to you then.